2024 is coming to a close. Today's it. It's December 31st when I'm recording this video. But there's been a lot of craziness this year as far as gaming and other strange things going on in the world. Like, I've been seeing people talking about some fog that they've been seeing that's making people sick. I don't know what that's all about. And then all these drones flying around. I haven't seen none of this personally, but hey, if you have, be careful out there, all right? But we're a gaming channel here. That's what we talks about. So we ain't talking about no fog or drones. But like I said, be careful, make it to 2025. But I want to talk about going back this year, some of my favorite things that came out maybe in 2024 as far as gaming goes. Looking back and going forward into 2025, the things that I'm looking most forward to. But I went through all my videos, and I typically try to do like 4 to 5 videos a week. A lot of reviews, some opinion stuff, rants, rambles, that kind of thing. I didn't do as many reviews this year as I have in the past because not as many things came out. But there were a good handful of devices that really impressed me. This year wasn't as great as far as games coming out, in my opinion, as years past. There was still a lot of cool stuff, but I want to focus on a handful of items that came out that I've really been enjoying. So just real quick with that, and then we'll talk about the stuff I'm really looking forward to next year. So one device that kind of is making me excited for the possibility of the future, but the Asus ROG Ally X. I really like that handheld, but it kind of pisses me off at the same time. It's one of my favorite devices this year. It pisses me off because the first one should have been that, right? Because it's the same device. It just has more RAM and better battery life. But the first one, I was always scared to use the micro SD card slot, and they fixed it with the second one. You know, the whole controversy with the first one, how the micro SD cards were getting destroyed with it or whatever. So I was always scared to use it. I got rid of it, got the X when it came out, and it's a fantastic device if you want to use a Windows handheld. But once I got that, I kind of shifted more towards going back to my Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck, while not as powerful as the ROG Ally X, I have the Steam Deck OLED now. It's just kind of being that self-contained system where it feels more like it's not a PC handheld. It's its own thing. It is a PC, it is its own, it's a computer, whatever. I just like that Steam OS and just having everything, presented that way, not fiddling around with things, right? But just with, all the different things you could do with the ROG Ally X, I really enjoyed it. But it's having me more excited for the future of these handhelds. Possible what Steam's going to do with the follow-up to the Steam Deck. Valve doing with the Steam Deck 2, possibly. That could be cool. I know other companies are going to be putting out handhelds that run, Steam OS and whatnot. So that's going to be cool. That was an exciting thing this year, messing around more with PC handhelds and just embracing more and more PC gaming. That's something that I've been talking about a lot over the past couple of years, being more and more into PC gaming. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is those Reaper light guns. Holy crap, those things are really freaking cool. I got the chance to mess around with them before they came out, and I love light gun gaming. And that brings me back. Like, that was a really cool thing. And looking at the pricing compared to everything else that's out there, how easy it is to set those up. Like the retro shooters and all that kind of stuff that they sell. You got to have the little IR sensors. You could buy like other IR sensors if you want. But having that set up, you can either use their self-contained little system that they sell that has some new games built into it, or just use like Batacera or whatever setup you want. But being able to play light gun games easily and fairly, like, I don't want to say cheap, because it's, up to each individual, but just the quality of those Reaper light guns, I'm really enjoying them compared to like the Sindens, which I really like, and they're easy to use as well. But just the Reapers, price point, how they're set up, how they look, how they feel, the quality behind them. One of my favorite items that came out this year. Now, the next one, I did not do a video on this, and I'm kind of slapping myself for this, and I probably will do a video on it. But the Mr. Piie, holy crap, this thing. So I have to do a video on this at some point. The Mr. Piie. So we've been talking about Mr. since the dawn of the Mr., right? And that thing started becoming extremely expensive to get into. FPGA gaming, playing all your old school systems, computer systems, arcade games. And then it expanded into even more crazy stuff, PlayStation, Saturn, Nintendo 64. There's a lot of cool stuff you can play on this via FPGA. You know, it's hardware simulation versus software emulation. It's still a form of emulation, regardless how you look at it. But depending on who's, programming the core, it could be very, a lot more accurate as far as timing and certain other things. Just depends, though. But a lot of people do enjoy FPGA gaming. That's why people buy, like, the analog consoles, right? And some people will buy analog consoles, and they don't even have cartridges, and they want to jailbreak them and pop in a micro SD card and play a bunch of consoles on it. And those things are fairly expensive as well. So to get into FPGA gaming, it was always kind of expensive. But when, Retro Remake, this company from Taki Udon, came out and started putting out these clone setups of the DE10 Nano and whatnot, and all these parts on the cheap, it was freaking nuts. This thing here already put together. This is how it shipped to me. Already put together with a micro SD card in it, ready to go. You just had to add the games or run the script to add stuff to it or to update it and then add your games and whatnot. But it was already set up. Like, it already had everything on it. You just add games to it. And it was already pre-assembled. Like $180. That's crazy, because just the DE10 Nano sells for more than that. And then you have to buy all the separate parts. The RAM, the I/O board, the USB hub, all that kind of stuff. Piecing all that together, you're like, I don't know, getting into like $400 or so, if not more. I haven't looked in a while, but it was crazy expensive. For under $200, you had a complete setup for less than just the main component that you would have to buy for a typical Mister setup. Amazing thing. This is like one of my top picks of the year as far as items that came out. So that's amazing. Now, my favorite thing, and I know I've been getting, heat on this one. I don't really give a crap because it's just my personal favorite. I love it, and I don't care. I know there's a lot of competition for this, including what I just talked about. Like the Mr. Piie, you can play games, whatever you want. Game Boy Color. The mod Retro Chromatic. I love that damn thing. Yes, it's a small handheld. It's got a little screen, but the quality behind it, that sapphire lab-grown crystal screen is amazing. The LCD that was, they made it themselves. The pixels, everything about it is freaking top quality. It only plays Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and some people are just like $200 freaking ridiculous. Okay, but like I said, it's just something I like, and a lot of other. It's sold out. You're not seeing tons of them being resold in the secondary market. That says something. So a lot of people who bought them actually wanted them, because you're not seeing a ton of them flooding the secondary market. That's a good thing in my eyes. You're seeing a lot of the GameStop ones getting put up on there for some reason, even though you could still buy them. But for somebody who likes Game Boy and Game Boy Color, it does it extremely well. Just everything about it is top quality. And then them releasing new games for it. It's like being a kid again. It's freaking enjoyable as heck. I love the damn thing. I bought one for my youngest kid. Been playing games. I got, link cables, played Tetris, comes with their version of Tetris. Freaking amazing. I don't know. I'm just really enjoying it. It's one of my favorite things that came out this year. But okay, moving on. What am I most looking forward to next year? So one of them is something that like this thing can do, but I'm just intrigued by it, and that is the Analogue 3D, the FPGA Nintendo 64 system. I love Nintendo, classic consoles, and the only systems I collect for are Game Boy, NES, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo 64. That is it. Like, I don't collect for any other systems. Like, I gave up on everything else. Those are the only ones that really hold my attention. So, yeah, I want to give that Analogue 3D a shot. I have one pre-ordered. I love the Nintendo 64. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time. While the library is not the greatest library of all time, there are some heavy hitters for it that just I absolutely love. Wave Race, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The list goes on and on. All the titles from Rare. It has a ton of awesome games for the system. And I'm really curious to see how well that Analog 3D, they do. And then those controllers that 8BitDo's putting out. So that's something I'm extremely looking forward to. And then there's also a couple games I'm looking forward to as well. Very, highly looking forward to. Lunar Remastered Collection. You don't know how much I loved Lunar Silver Star Story Complete and Eternal Blue Complete for the PlayStation 1. Yeah, I never played them before then, but when those came out, I was just addicted as all hell. So these new ones, it's going to be for the Switch and every other console. They're going to have enhanced graphics, audio, quality of life improvements, and I was blown away when that was announced not too long ago. So I'm really looking forward to that coming out. That's going to be huge for me to be able to get that in physical copy. And it's definitely coming out physical. PlayAsia has them listed, so it's got to come out physical. I know PlayAsia sometimes jumps the gun, though, but that's definitely one I'm grabbing. I'm extremely, extremely excited for. The next one, which Capcom's been hitting it out of the park with these fighting game collections, but they got the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 coming out. This one, hell yeah. Some of these games I didn't think we were ever going to get re-released, but Capcom Fighting Collection 2, you got 8 games, and they're all playable online with rollback and netcode. You got Capcom vs. SNK Pro and Capcom vs. SNK 2. You got Power Stone 1 and 2. You got Project Justice, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Capcom Fighting Evolution, which kind of, I remember buying that game, I think, for the PS2, and I liked it. It's kind of an oddball one, but it's still cool to see. And then Plasma Sword, game I'm not too familiar with, but still neat to see it. So that kind of rounds out my list there almost, because obviously the other thing that I'm sure plenty of people are excited for, and I don't really even need to have on the list, is the Switch 2, because we know the freaking Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out next year. It's got to be coming out. I'm excited for that, but I don't want to talk too much about it because there's all these tons of rumors and speculation. I'm just waiting to see what Nintendo's got to say for it. So I'm gonna save my excitement for that day when Nintendo officially announces it, and we'll talk then. But yeah, let me know. What are you looking forward to next year? What was the most exciting stuff to come out this year? Games, devices, whatever. There's a lot of cool stuff, but it was a little bit of a slower year, I think, for certain things, but there's still a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye. Yeah, I'm a little sick. I'm sorry.